I'd like to introduce Leonard Jr. He's our keynote speaker for today, and also the CEO of Ovationz.
Thank you, Jason, for putting this on. Thank you all for attending and being part of it. We're really excited about the Circle of Friends Club and partnership with Ovationz and what we're doing and putting forward. So for me, I actually had a whole speech planned. Like Kristen was talking about, sometimes God puts something on your heart and you got to adjust it and change it. I'm gonna give you a little bit about my background first. Some of you may know a little bit about me, but I was born to two teenage parents. My mother was 15, my father was 16 in Palmer Park, Maryland. We didn't have much at all. And then somehow my father ends up winning the 1976 Olympics, gold medal. Everybody in the area knew our name, knew who we were, but we still didn't have any money, and we still were in the same area. And it's tough to come from that space of you're known by everybody, and everybody thinks something that has an impression of you, what you are and who you are, but your life is really different. And that's been kind of a staple in my whole life. I grew up underneath the spotlight. I grew up underneath the guise of that we were this perfect family and had to live in that for my whole teenage years up until I was an adult. And it was really tough on me, and I didn't understand the facets of mental health. I was a very introverted child. You would never think that now because I'm a public speaker, but I was scared to talk. I didn't want to be around people. I kept everything in. I didn't really have emotions because in my family, the strong silent type was, what you had to be. My father was a boxer. My grandfather was a boxer. My uncle was one of the boxers. And by here, we don't say anything. We just act tough. And what you learn years later is that the damage that you do by not being able to communicate the proper way, to actually know what's going on in your head, to actually have some help from other people, can cause a lot more damage down through the years. Now, my speech earlier today was just to talk about, knowing your why and how do we overcome our deficiencies in life. But I've been going through something for the last few years, or last year actually, because one of my best friends, my brother, passed away in December of last year. And that started to get me to thinking about time. I've gone through a state of depression for this last year that I didn't want to, look at. I basically just kept pushing and trying to promote and help and manifest the energy. And you can't help anybody else until you actually help yourself. So the story of what happened with my friend is that we were supposed to meet up. All of a sudden of how he passed away, we're supposed to meet up this was December, actually with November 22nd, which was my birthday. And he lived in Maryland. He was supposed to fly out to California. And he had booked this flight. And that week, he's supposed to fly on December 1st. And that week, I got a call from his wife that said he was in the hospital. Things started to change. I said, he was in pretty good health. I don't know what happened. And then all of a sudden, we thought he was coming out. They said he was coming out of the hospital, and then the last second, he took a turn for the worse. And so instead of my friend visiting me, I had to visit him for his funeral. And I didn't know how to deal with that. I haven't had a whole bunch of death in my life and my family. My family normally lived for like 90-something years, everybody in my family. And so this was a kind of a jarring moment for me. And from my background of being a two-sport athlete in college and being successful in business, meeting some of the most amazing people in the world, from Nelson Mandela to the Queen of England, it was in my head that I was invincible, that I've been blessed to have all these different experiences and be around these people, that life should just come easy. Even with the ups and downs and trials and tribulations that we go through, because of where we came from, I always had that faith that we were going to get to another level where I would get through anything. I never had that in my head that I had a roadblock in my mind of anything. But this kind of just stopped me in my tracks, because the things that I teach about, I talk about knowing better and do better, because that's what my grandfather taught me. So always trying to progress every single day to get better, to be a beacon of light for others, to be someone that motivates, helps, and inspires people to be the best that they can be, to be able to help people overcome the times that they feel down, the depression, the mental struggles. But what happens when you actually have to live your own words? When you are that person that is having that struggle, how do I turn around and become that motivator or inspiration person to me? And I struggled with this, and I felt like I was a fraud. It's like, because how am I telling everybody else to do this and I can't do it? And that's a battle within ourselves that we always constantly have. We always think we have enough time. We always think that we can handle any situation. But there's a reason why we have each other. There's a reason why we have a community. It's because we need each other. It's not weak to say I'm struggling. It's not weak to say I need some support. It's not weak to say I need help. It's not weak to say I'm vulnerable. But the biggest thing is to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say to that person, are you living the same thing that you're talking about? So that came to me, and that was just a light in my head that I needed this community more than ever. And the blessings of having friends and people and other folks who are your support system, it changes the way you think because you're not isolated. You have a support system. You have people around you. You have an opportunity to continue to grow. We're all going to struggle. We're all going to have our times that we don't feel 100%. We're going to have our times when we feel like giving up. But if we put one foot in front of the other, we take that one step. We get up in the morning. We give ourselves those affirmations. We believe that we are part of a bigger culture, a bigger society, a bigger thing in this world that needs to go on. God did not make us by accident. God did not make us by accident. We were put here for a reason. All of us were put here for a reason. And we need to let our light shine. We need to be the people that we were sent here to be. And we can't be those people that we were sent here to be if we don't depend on the other people around us. So I leave with that to say, I appreciate the support system. I appreciate the ability to be up and talking and to be vulnerable. I thank you all for the opportunity to open up my heart, because this is cathartic to me to be able to talk about some of these things that I would never talk about. It's easier for me to say it, hey, like you tell it to me and I can listen to you. But when it's on the other foot, it's a little bit different. So I appreciate you all, and I thank you for being here, and I thank Jason for putting this together, because this is something I definitely needed this morning. It wasn't the presentation I was going to give, but hopefully it inspired and helped somebody to be able to overcome your fears of being able to talk, of knowing that just because you're vulnerable doesn't mean you're worthless. We are very worthy. Know that you're worthy. Thank you.